Thank you, my brother. So, everyone, thank you for being here this evening. This month's theme is on purpose. That's what I'm speaking on this month. And if you missed last week, I'm just going to do a quick recap because all of these lessons are building on each other. They're working together. So the foundation we talked about last week was discover your purpose. And a few of the things that the broad topics that we hit on is one, that we were all created for a purpose. God especially made every single one of us for a specific reason. And that purpose is service to God and service to others. And we're supposed to use the talents and abilities that God blessed us with to serve others. And we talked also that if you don't know your purpose, all you have to do is ask. Matthew 7:7-8. Ask, seek, and knock. So now that we know we all have purpose, the question then becomes, do you believe that you have the potential to actually bring that purpose to life? So today we're talking about believe your potential. And knowing your purpose is clearly essential to both maximizing your potential and believing in that potential. But I feel that a lack of belief in one's potential is the biggest hindrance and the biggest thing that stops people from living a life of purpose. So today, I just want to talk about this potential and believing that potential. Okay, there we go. So, real simple. First, believe in yourself. The first half of Proverbs 23:7 reads, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. So the question I want to start with tonight is, what do you think about yourself? What do you believe about yourself? Your success is determined by how much you believe in your potential. I think everyone knows they have potential, but it's not enough. Knowing something and believing something are two different things. Knowledge is objective, it's based on fact, it's provable. For instance, if I asked you who's the first president of the United States, you either know the answer to that question or you don't. It's simple, it's science, it's something that's proven. That's what knowledge is. Belief, on the other hand, is subjective. It's based on the person, right? It's not necessarily measurable and it's not influenced by outside factors. So when you talk about belief, the beauty in the belief is that the belief only has to be true to you. That you're the only person who have to believe that you have potential to do something in order to make it happen. The belief will also lead you to action. How much you believe something depends on, will be shown by how you act on that belief. The fact that we're all here right now on a Thursday night, when there's a lot of other things that we could be doing, show that we have some belief. We have belief in God. We have some type of belief that brings us here and takes us away from outside things. We're actually acting on that belief. If you didn't believe there was a guy, you wouldn't be on this call right now. So belief makes you act in accordance to what you say that you believe. And people aren't usually convinced against their beliefs. So another thing is belief can be very strong. It can take root in you, and depending on how strong that belief is, depends on where you go with it. And hopefully that belief is of positive things. Because like I said, people aren't usually convinced against their beliefs. If you think about someone who believes in God versus someone who's an atheist, those people can have conversations all day. 9 times out of 10, neither side is going to be swayed. And I know this personally because when I worked at my prior law firm, the guy whose door was right next door to me, he was an atheist. And I didn't like him at first. After I got to know him, he wasn't really that bad of a guy. He didn't believe in God, but he wasn't really that bad of a guy. But we had a lot of conversations about why I believed what I believed and why he didn't believe what he believed. And with both of us being attorneys, these conversations could go on for a long time, and we both could make some pretty good points. But he was never going to convince me that there was no belief in God. And I don't think I was ever going to convince him that God did exist. That's the same thing about your potential. It doesn't matter who else believes in your potential. The only thing that matters is, do you believe in it? Because you're the only one who can act on it. So as a man thinks in his heart, so is it. You cannot ever achieve higher than your belief. If you believe you're a 2, you will only ever be a 2. If you believe you're a 10, you can be a 10. So you have to start here. You have to think that you have something to give. You have to think and believe that you have the potential to live your purpose because God gave it to you. So I want to start by saying, make sure that you believe in yourself. Right? And then once you believe in yourself, you have to take that and make it a perfect marriage, right? You have to marry that belief in yourself with a belief in God. Okay. Same way a marriage takes 2 people, your belief system takes 2 people. I really believe that one without the other is like a car without an engine. A car can go nowhere without an engine. An engine can do nothing without a car. Okay. You have to have both, because there's been times in my life where I believed in myself and I didn't necessarily think that I might have needed God to go to where I needed to be. And I have failed miserably. I failed because I thought that it was all on Tracy. Now, when you have that thought process, it's dangerous because that's called arrogance. And usually when you learn a lesson from arrogance, it's very humbling. It's not a lesson that you really like to learn, but you have to learn it. Now, but there goes the other way. Some people say, well, it doesn't matter. Just believe in God. You don't even have to believe in yourself. Well, that's not true either. Because Moses, when you remember him, I'm going to say Moses believed in God. He had conversations with God. God told him what he was going to do through him. And Moses tried to get out of it. Moses said, send someone else. Moses didn't believe in himself. Now, God overcame that, but Moses did not want to act. And a lot of times when we don't believe in God, we will not act. If I had to say, choose between believing in yourself and think you don't need God versus believing God and not believing in yourself, I would almost say that believing in yourself probably is a little better, because at least on that you'll act. But sometimes we don't have that Moses mindset. When God has chosen you, told you he has a purpose for you and he has something that he's going to accomplish through you, don't tell yourself you're not good enough when God has said you are. Don't do that. So take a perfect marriage. Believe in yourself. Believe in God. Like this says, believe in yourself because God believes in you. And if God believes in you, you know you have the perfect marriage that will never fail. You have that covenant that will not be broken, and success is guaranteed. So marry that. Believe in yourself and believe in God, and your potential will be realized. Then after you have this belief, you have to get yourself in the right environment. You have to get yourself in the right environment. Proverbs 13:20 says, walk with the wise and become wise, for a companion of fools suffers harm. Maybe right now your belief is small. Maybe right now you have that belief, you married the belief in yourself with God, but it's very small. That's fine. You are on the right track. However, for that belief to grow, you have to be in the right environment. And that environment consists of 2 factors. It consists of yourself, and that environment consists of others. Let's start with others first. Okay. Who are the people that you're hanging around? Are you walking with the wise, or are you walking with the foolish people? Are the people around you, need to do an assessment. Are the people around you, are they pushing you to do better? Are they getting you closer to your goals or further away from your goals. Once you make that determination, then you know what you need to do at that point. I use this illustration here because this illustration is very personal to me. I had a pet turtle that I got back when I was in college. I don't know why I always wanted a pet turtle. I didn't care about fish or anything like that. There was no way mom was letting me get a dog or anything like that. So I got a turtle, right? So I got a pet turtle, and when I first got him, he was like this top picture here. He was very small, probably about the size of this part of my thumb, if that, when I first got him. And then when I had him for maybe 12 to 14 years or so. And then before he died, he was probably about the size of the palm of my hand, his shell was. And maybe if he spread himself out, he was probably close to the size of my hand. And one day I went to a gathering at a house, and I had to be going with a friend because I don't even remember who this person is. And I had never been to this house before, but I go in their home and they have a pet turtle, but the turtle is huge. And I'm looking in the aquarium. I asked the person, I said, "Hey, what kind of turtle is this?" They said, "Oh, it's a Florida hardshell." I was like, "Okay, I have a Florida hardshell." I said, "Well, how long have you had this turtle?" They had only had the turtle like 4 or 5 years. I had my turtle 9 years at that point. That turtle was like 7 or 8 times bigger than my turtle. I said, "I have the same exact turtle, and I've had my turtle for more time. Your turtle is way bigger than mine." And the person says, "Oh, yeah, that's because turtles grow to the size of their environment." See, what happened to my turtle is I had restricted its environment, right? This person had their turtle in this big, nice aquarium. And guess what? I had my turtle in a big, nice aquarium at first, but it was so hard to clean. It was hard to carry. It was heavy. It was too much maintenance. So to make it easier on me, I restricted my turtle's environment, which means I restricted how much my turtle grew. Sometimes we have people who are around us who are the same way. People who don't want to go anywhere in life, people who aren't going anywhere in life, people who, because they haven't accomplished anything, they don't want to see you accomplish anything, and they're restricting your environment. You have to make sure that if you have those people in your environment, you have to remove them from the environment or remove yourself from that environment, because the right environment is critical to you maximizing your growth potential. So look at the other people in your environment and do an assessment on what's going on with that and see what you need to do. Now, if you're in an environment that is good, then you have to look at yourself, because sometimes we're in the right environment, but we're just failing on our end, or we're just not doing something on our end. So if the environment is bad, change the environment. If the environment is good, we need to look at changing ourselves. There's nothing, God has given us everything that we need to live a fulfilled life and to live our maximum potential. And there's nothing more disappointing, at least to me as a human, and I'm pretty sure it's the same to God, for someone having everything at their hands and basically squandering it. Having all the advantages in the world, but yet they're not doing what they need to do to live the potential or live what God has called them to do. I'm going to tell you this. No one owes you more than you owe yourself. And you owe yourself, and more importantly, you owe God to live up to your full potential. So if you're not living up to your full potential, first, check your environment. And then second, check yourself and get yourself into an environment that's going to maximize the potential of your growth. Then you have to fill your cup. All right. John 10:10 says, "The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I have come that they may have life and have it to the full." How full is your cup? We're all cups. All right. We're all cups. A cup is meant to be poured into so someone can drink something out of it. God gave us all a certain amount of potential, and he wants everything back from the potential that he gave us. Last week, I touched on the parable of the talents, right? And that is really shown in these cups here. The first cup is empty. An empty cup isn't giving anything, right? It's basically useless. It's not providing any benefit when it's just sitting there empty. Then we have a cup that's halfway filled. That's a good start, right? I don't think anyone on this call tonight are empty cups, but are we half filled cups? Are we looking at this as a half full cup or a half empty cup? Either way, it's not full enough if you're looking for God's standard. Because if God made you to hold more, he wants you to hold more. And then you have a cup that's fully filled. Now, this cup on the end here, it was the best picture I had to bring this illustration forward to show you the different levels. But even that cup, it still has a little bit more that it can give. God wants you to be filled all the way up. Like I said with the parable of the talents, whatever he gave you, he wants you to give back to him. So how full is your cup? What are we doing? What are we doing? Are we maximizing our potential? Are we giving God everything that we have? Or are we settling for just being empty and not doing anything? Or the lazy way and just giving, what we feel like giving or what we think we should give on that day? But that also comes with a warning as well for the people who are filled cups and who are giving everything. Make sure that you're not trying to overflow, because if you can only hold, for instance, 32 ounces of water, that's all that you can hold. Don't let other people guilt you into trying to give more, because that happens a lot. People who give so much, unfortunately, the more talent you have, sometimes the more people are going to ask and demand of you. People see busy stuff, people doing stuff, and they just act like, okay, well, I just add another thing to their plate just because they're being busy. Unfortunately, that can work against you sometimes. But if you have 32 ounces to drink and someone's still thirsty after they drunk 32 ounces, the problem is not with you. The problem is with the person who's drinking. So make sure God gave you only a certain amount of potential. You can't run over and do more than what God gave you, and don't kill yourself and burn yourself out trying to be something that you're not. Fill your cup, and once that cup is full, give everything you have and just leave the rest. Now, the beautiful thing about the cup is, whatever the cup is, if you're using your full potential, that's all that you can do, right? A shot glass can hold what, maybe 1-2 ounces. This glass here in the middle that's probably what, 6 to 8 ounces in that glass right there of water. That shot glass is still doing more if it's fully filled, even though this other cup here has 6 to 8 ounces in it, because this cup that has 6 to 8 ounces in it can actually give 16. Remember, like the parable of the woman with the widow with the mite who gave everything she had. If you're giving everything you have, God is going to be pleased. He doesn't expect a shot glass to do the same as he does a water glass or a wine glass. So give everything you have, whatever it is, to God. Fill your cup, because he expects it. He gave it to you, and he wants you to give everything back to him. And finally, before I close tonight, we have to expect to win, okay? We have to expect to win. 1 Samuel 17, 45 through 46, David said to the Philistine, "You come against me with sword and spear and javelin, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied. This day the Lord will deliver you into my hands." David believed in himself because he believed in God. David had that perfect marriage of his belief system. And one thing I know about successful people is successful people, they expect to win. They do. It's almost a borderline cockiness that they don't think they can lose. And they lose sometimes, but they win a lot more than they lose because they expect to win. They expect that if I do something, it's going to be successful. And here's the thing, every single person on this call tonight, we do the same things in the areas that we choose. So we need to start doing those same things in the area that God chooses. For example, almost every person on this call, I don't know why we all live in different parts of the world, but where I'm at, we drive cars. I know different parts of the world use more public transportation or different things, but most people, if you use a car, you get in that car every single day expecting that you're going to get to your destination and home safely. Even though we all have the knowledge that every single day there's car accidents in this world and that people die in car accidents. But we get into our cars and drive and expect to go where we're going and make it home. Why? Because there's an expectation of success, even though that success was never guaranteed. It was never guaranteed, but we expect it, right? And do the same thing. Most of us on here are sitting down on some type of seat or stool or something, right? Why? Because we expect that it's going to hold our weight. If what we're sitting on breaks, we'd be hurt. But we sit down, you go to church, you probably sit on a pew, not just expecting it to hold your weight, but the weight of everybody else who comes to sit on that pew. I've never seen anybody walk in church and expect a pew, see how sturdy it was or anything like that. They just sit down because they expect success. They expect they're going to sit down. They expect the pew's going to hold their weight. Same thing with food. Every single one of us eats every single day. I'm pretty sure, or very, very close to it. I don't know about y'all, but I've had food poisoning a few times in my life. But every single day I eat, expecting that my body is going to digest that food and that I'm going to be fulfilled and nourished from what I eat. If I knew that it was going to get me sick, I'd skip that meal. We have an expectation of success in so many small things, and we want to only put God in the big things, but the truth is God is in everything. I know for me personally, the reason that I might think or put think that God can do the small things and not bless me in the big things is because I think sometimes that Tracy is controlling the small things, but I'm not. If I have success or we have success in anything in life, God has orchestrated no matter how big or how small. So you might as well go big and try to go for a big prize if you're going to go for anything at all. All right. When we're acting in our purpose and we're acting in accordance with God's will, victory is guaranteed. We just have to believe and expect that we're going to be victorious because God never fails, which means God never loses. The only person you're destined to become is the person that you decide to be. Believe in your potential and become the person that God created you to be. The lesson is yours.